Get them fired up and get them to the staging lanes, baby, because 8th Mile Apparel is now carrying Going Bracket Racing merch. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and much more can be yours today by visiting 8thmileapparel.com. We appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the Going Bracket Racing YouTube and Facebook pages.
Back road to the burnout. GBR rematch. We're rolling down the back road to the burnout box. Tailgate talking about the tree and the clocks. Going bracket racing, pop pumping loud on the dash. Where the country boys winch and the city boys clash. When that pre-stage flickers, everybody gets quiet. Hit the loud pedal hard, let the whole crowd riot. Yeah, we got mud on the tires, slicks in the trailer, VP in the jug, beer in the cooler. From the clap of the headers to the smell of that glue. GBR, tune in if you live in that dream. Casey on the mic, bringing heat like July. Breaking down the bracket game with the sharp eagle eye. George jump in, dropping takes like a hammer. Two-man crew shouting bracket racing grammar. Double O's hit us, green light split us. Top up kings and blow a car wizards. We're rolling down the back road to the burnout box. Tailgate talking about the tree and the clocks. Going bracket racing, pop pumping loud on the dash. Where the country boys winch and the city boys clash. When that pre-stage flickers, everybody gets quiet. Hit the loud pedal hard, let the whole crowd riot. I got the cooler in the bed and the grill on low. Shooting breeze, about the stripe in the margin to go. From the big money races to your local track porch. Ain't nobody calling cleaner than Casey and George. Rubbing the throttle, playing old school tricks. The kind you only learn after thousands of hits. It's the GBR code from the farm to the town. Take it to the track and we'll all throw down. Fire suit swinging on a hook by the trees. Warm pit winds drifting soft in the breeze. If you know the feel of that Tuesday night air, then you know Casey and George, cause they're right there. I got the cooler in the bed and the grill on low. Shooting breeze, about the stripe and the margin to go. From the big money races to your local track porch. Ain't nobody call it cleaner than Casey and George. Pumping the throttle, playing old school tricks. The kind you only learn after thousands of hits. It's the GBR code from the farm to the town. Take it to the track and we'll all throw down. From the hollers to the highways, they keep it alive. Casey and George riding shotgun on the drive, so crank it up loud.
What's up, everybody? Casey and George back. We skipped last week, had a little Christmas action going on, and not a whole lot to talk about there. George is here. Don't worry. He'll be coming in here in a second. He's working on some sound stuff in the background while I introduce everybody to December 30th, 2025, episode 218, which will obviously be the last GBR episode before the new year. Happy New Year's to everybody, I guess. Tomorrow will be New Year's Eve, bringing in 2026. Going to be a whole lot of racing to be done in 2026. Probably the best year of drag racing we've seen in a very long time. I mean, I'm forecasting this to be back like the Winston days. For those of you that are old enough to remember what that was like, very well known to be the heyday of both NHRA drag racing and NASCAR. IHRA was going hard back then also. Some of the best times were the early 2000s, late 90s in that area when Clay Millican was dominating every IHRA Top Fuel race. Just a ton of innovation back then, ton of people racing. Everybody talks about it. Well, we're getting ready to see it ourselves, I believe, in 2026. But we got to thank those people that have brought this to you every single episode, 2025, TSR Racing Products, Power Glides, Turbo 350s, 400, 727 transmissions. Get them freshened up, get them ready for 2026 because you're going to need them. BRG 3D printed parts. Anything you need on that race car, any kind of new parts that you're getting ready to put on your race car, Brian Garrett can print any kind of custom parts up. So you make something out of cardboard, send it to him in the mail. He'll bring you back a brand new part that's ready to go on your race car. Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. Stickers, shirts, brochures, anything you need for your business going into the new year. Of course, Driven Racing Oil. They released all kinds of new products at PRI. They got one thing that I didn't know, guys. If you're in the process right now of sorry, I got two screens going on over here. George looking at me on this one, and I'm looking at a keyboard on this one. So it screwed me up. I didn't know what was going on over there. I thought I screwed something up. But anyway, Driven Racing Oil. I did not know that their engine assembly lube is they have a break-in oil that is specially manufactured to be able to eat away that assembly lube upon first startup. So whenever you drain that oil out and ruin it and everything anyway, it dissolves all of that engine assembly lube in there. And that's yet another one of those products you can use the code GBR10 on and get yourself 10% off your order whenever you order anything off the Driven Racing Oil site. They got anything from transmission fluid. They've got a lot of transmission fluid now also just released that I'm going to hopefully be able to test a lot of it out because Chevelle's hard on transmission fluid. But they got transmission fluid now of all different types and weights that's really made to compete with that LAT oil, LAT, whatever you want to call it, that you see on the side of all those Pro Mod cars. So need the converter be a little bit tighter, they got a little higher weight for that. You need to be a little looser, they got a little lower weight for that. So look into that stuff, and most importantly, use the code GBR10, get yourself 10% off and save some money. Proform Parts. Visit proformparts.com for your shop tools, carburetors, starters, alternators, radiators, accessories, and so. We got it. We got us back. Everybody can hear me. Somebody say something in the chat if you can hear us. But anyway, I was just telling you, Proform Parts offers a Dominator now as well. So if you're in the market for a new carburetor for 2026, definitely look them up because I had great success. In fact, old Matty, whenever he had the now I got double sound here. Hold on. All right. So anyways, we had a Proform Parts carburetor on the Nova whenever old Matty runnered up the fling earlier this year. So that tells you how good they are. So visit proformparts.com for that. Crew Chief Pro software. If you couldn't get your dial in figured out in 2025, get it figured out for 2026 with Crew Chief Pro software. That's who you go to and get your dial in figured out. Gearhead Solutions, get you some parts. Got that shirt on right here. Gearheadsolutions.com. Thousands and thousands of vendors. Trevor will get you hooked up with all the parts you need at usually a better price and definitely better customer service. I can assure you of that. That's the reason why I started using them personally before all of this partnership stuff went on. So gearheadsolutions.com, that's who you need to call. Get your parts in line and usually get them in 1 to 2 days. Mid-State Dragway in Havana, Illinois. They announced that they're going with IHRA next year, George. That was a new announcement not too long ago. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they make of that place. Had some of the best races that you could think of in the Midwest this year. They got better every single event. I've already talked to a lot of people from back home saying there's absolutely no way they're missing any of those twin tens that they have up there at Mid-State Dragway. And I'm very interested to see what Vashon has in store for 2026. You got any insight this week? I know you like to keep all those cards close to your chest.
Well, as usual, guys, I'm working with something on the back end, so you're going to hear some fan noise from my computer. I'm trying to get it out of there. Casey, you know that I know a few things. Number one, IHRA and Mid-State have been together, I want to say a year, maybe 2 now, but they did renew and keep the party going there with IHRA for the upcoming year, and most likely for the foreseeable future, if I'm not wrong there, but who knows what may happen down the line, of course. You just expect everyone who's listening from that area, the Twin Tens will be going on. Let's just leave it at that for now, and enjoy 6 different events, I think it is, Casey, that's put on out there at Mid-State. Big money racing in the Midwest is going to be pretty doggone good this year. There's quite a bit going on. I know there's some stuff happening at I-57, or what we know as Benton. I'm not for sure what the name of it is now, Casey, but I know you know. I think it's Ellis Raceway. There you go, Ellis 57 out there. So definitely a lot of cool things happening, Casey. Both tracks being IHRA, but yeah, man, I know how you feel around here in Texas, man. We heck, man, we went from 25 degrees at night to 80 degrees in the day. And it's just that time of the year. Old Texas needs that bipolar medication because it can't figure it out, bro. And next thing you know, everybody's sniffing and hacking, and I'm trying to stay away from all that noise. So you see, I got me a good old Sprite 7-Up Zero going in my system right now.
Yep. No, man, it's been wild out here. It went from it was like wintertime for a week, and then all of a sudden it was summertime for Christmas, and then all of a sudden it went back to winter for like a day, and then came back to summer, and now it's like 29 degrees outside of my house right now. So it's all over the place. Who knows? But I know they got to do some racing out of Coastal Plains this week, the week of Christmas. So I guess it would have been a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. So cool to see that going on. It's always nice whenever they get a random year where there is a nice time right around the New Year's time, just to get that winter racing right out of your system. And then you got a couple months left until you got some real racing going on again here in the South. So, dude, I mean, we might as well talk about this because the announcement was made like 2 hours ago. IHRA just purchased Topeka. So that's great for anybody who's got a number 5 in front of their number, I guess. It's definitely good for those guys out in Colorado that lost Bandamere. I know it's still a long way to Topeka, but I mean, you don't really have much other than Grand Junction out there anyways. So Iowa people probably pretty happy. Obviously, anybody in the Kansas area is going to be happy. I know there's a lot of racers in Hays, Kansas, not terrible far from there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. That's a very high-end facility. And I know that really the reason it closed down was because of the whole tax situation, but maybe the state decided that was not such a good idea of all the millions of dollars they brought in there over the years.
Well, that's a good location, number one. It's pretty interesting to watch the games that have been played amongst the two sanctioning bodies. And it's not even necessarily a game. It's just what market do you appeal to. And it's really, really fitting to see IHRA begin to put tracks in places that really need a little bit more of a presence on the drag racing side of things in the first place. I'm not for sure, Casey, you may know better than me, but did Heartland Park have a circle track as well?
I want to say they might have, but I am not 100% certain.
Neither
but obviously, IHRA is in the circle track game, so that would be great to buy one of those super tracks.
That's right, man, and or at least enough land to where they could eventually turn it into a super track. But I don't know if you guys jog back maybe 4 or 5 episodes. We got a pretty good nugget on the wall. A birdie flew past my window. Thanks, Barn. And let us know what was actually happening with this whole thing even being possible. And the day we heard it, we mentioned it right here on Going Bracket Racing that Topeka, Kansas was in play, as if maybe somebody was out having some lunch with some decision makers in that area. So number one, it's a win for drag racing as a whole. I don't care if it's bracket racing, no prep, pro mod, door car only. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what it is. This is a win for drag racing, especially in that area. Special win for the Kansas guys. I know you guys were without a track. Here's to hoping you still come on up here and race this Superbuck Showdown with us out here in Texas. But congrats on getting the track back.
Yeah, and it looks like Barnes over here saying there's more to come, so he might have some more insider information. Austin Day looks like he's up there in the Indiana area. Appreciate you being a supporter of the channel also, Austin. Said he believes that Topeka has a road course. So yeah, that'd be something that'd fit right into their type of stuff. He also is mentioning, which is something we need to mention on the show, we got the mini million at Indy this year in August. So that's interesting. And the reason that's interesting is not only because Indy is Indy, but because they originally had the OG million at Indy and famously left Indy to go to, I believe, Muncie because Tech was too hard. Now, I don't think that's as big as an issue this year. I mean, this time, this day and age, as it was back then, because back then there was a whole lot of back and forth of like, there weren't a lot of places you needed to race where you needed a chassis tag. There were a lot of cars that were racing that were home built and maybe had never been certified or wouldn't certify. The rules were few and far between back then, but they were very strict at an NHRA facility. Don't forget, NHRA owns Indy, so they got to be kind of stringent on that. Mm-hmm. But it's so easy anymore to get a license if you need one. It's so easy. Presumably most people are wearing their safety gear anyway that they're supposed to have. So I don't think that will be as big of an issue now. Do you see it being any sort of an issue versus what it was to legitimately move the race last minute to a whole different place?
I mean, me personally, no. I definitely know that, or at least I feel like when we think about the race leaving Indy in the first place, they understand the reasons why the million would have left Indy. Call me crazy, but I don't expect anyone to make the same mistake twice. That's just called insanity. Do the same thing, expect a different outcome. So it's a great race leading up, and if I'm not wrong, it's August, so it's leading right into St. Louis. You go from Indy straight to St. Louis. There ain't but 4 hours, maybe 4.5 between the two tracks in the first place. So definitely good to see the mini million again. Congrats out there in Indianapolis, the Indiana area. There's a lot of racers in Muncie and all these other places that are so close to there. Not to mention, I mean, our whole family's, Casey. We're from 3 hours away from that racetrack, so expect to see quite a big crowd there at that race. And let's not forget, this is the mini million, but there's also still going to be that mini million in Gainesville. This is just going to be the third event for the Folk Promotions team,
and it's going to be at Indy. That's
right.
The thing. I think that this is what's going to push the mini million to the level of the OG million being a gateway. The only way I could ever see the only place, I guess I should say, that I could ever see the OG million being bigger than it is at Gateway would be at Indy, because it's Indy. People don't have the opportunity to race at Indy. Don't forget that the U.S. Nationals only, they base everything off grade points. So you have to participate in a lot of NHRA events, and the way that their program works, like someone like Dan Fletcher, who's a past champion, I think he automatically gets into Indy if he wants to get in because he's a past champion. Not 100% certain how that works, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So even if Casey's over here with 1 million grade points, Dan Fletcher gets above Casey because he's a champion, and he should, because he put in the time. But I'm just saying that it's very difficult to be able to race at Indy. So I think there's going to be a lot of people go to that particular mini million just to say, I've raced at IRP, because it is a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, Casey, not everybody can say we grew up where bracket finals was for several years in HRA-wise.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember the first drive-in I ever went to was right there next to Indianapolis Raceway Park. We go to watch Twister, if I'm not wrong, way back in the day. So it's just a staple. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I actually won one of my earlier Super Pro races actually at Indy during I don't know if it was technically a divisional event or what it was, but I know we were there to run Super Quicks. That was one of their 32 car field or 64 car field big Super Quicks when it was real big back in the day. So we went up there for that, and I ended up winning actually the bracket race they had on Friday. I beat Frosty Dillman in the finals in that real nice Chevy 2.
Yep, man. And again, and as we continue on with this show, I'm watching the comments over here. I see my boy Troy out there, and I believe he's out on the West Coast somewhere, man. We hope the weather's good out there for you.
Oh, yeah, he always calls me on his lunchtime, and I'm over here trying to go to sleep or something like that.
It's like we got a few hours between us, big dog, but I'm reading this comment.
Me and him have been playing phone tag lately.
I'm reading the comment, and I think it's and I'm not going to read it on the show here, but I feel like it's kind of something that is making its rounds through this whole thing as we watch it unfold with IHRA buying and bringing back to life. And I mean, Memphis was basically 1 foot in the grave, if not both, by the time IHRA bought it. So just kind of saying how the subsidies may work and where the funding's going to come from and this, that, and the third is what I think he's trying to say. And, man, I just think there's a lot better way to make money than to buy racetracks. Or at least if you're going to do it differently, Of course, I think drag racing is a very lucrative place to put your money in if you know what you're doing. And I'm really not worried about the monetization or the level of where the money's going to come from. It seems to be something, Casey. Maybe you can add your 2 cents into it, but it seems to be the attitude, or not even attitude, but the first thought that pops into us as drag racers' mind when we see things like this happen. A track that's been gone for how long to be brought back as a racetrack again just doesn't make much sense for there to be any trouble. Go ahead, Casey.
And exactly, we're talking about on this show. We're talking about 2 tracks in particular, Atlanta and Memphis. That was 0. So we're adding 2. So that it's not like that. Those 2 aren't switching hands necessarily. It's not like a Galat purchase. Galat was already operating, so all you're doing is trading hands. You're bringing 2 back. So now we have 2 more tracks. We didn't zero anything out. It's kind of like if you have somebody voting for somebody over here and voting for somebody over there, you want them to cross the road to come to your side. You don't want just another person to pop up, because that's just this guy and this guy canceling each other out. But if you have this guy come over here, now there's 2 over here and 0 over there. So that's a good thing. Whenever more tracks show up, that's a good thing. And I just want to say one thing that I was telling you earlier. Not that I believe this is happening, but the first thing everybody said when he started buying all these tracks was they were all worried they're all going to turn into data centers. They're all going to turn into warehouses. And it's like, the one that would have deserved that criticism, if there was one, would be the Memphis one, because it's right in the middle of the world and the track is totally junk right now.
Junk.
So it's like, but then nobody said that about that one. I'm like, maybe they're finally figuring it out that this guy's trying to do the right thing and just let him do it, because so far everything he's been doing is great. And I read the new drag review. Yes, it finally showed up at my house. The November-December issue finally showed up on December 30th, guys. So I finally got it. But I was reading through there, and I was reminded in the article I was reading that whenever Frankie Taylor was talking, he's like, yeah, some of these guys just want to be on TV. And now we're on YouTube and Speed Sport, and they had an article in there with the CEO of Speed Sport, I guess, and millions of views. That's how you fund this stuff. Guys, I know this is a bracket racing program, but we're not talking about bracket racing. This type of a sport, the professional level, the semi-pro, whatever you want to call it, but a large organization like IHRA, they make money off of TV deals. They don't make money off of people in the stands, because the people in the stands are people sitting at home in their recliner chairs watching jet ski racing, and then the next show that comes on is drag racing, and the next show that comes on is drag boats, and the next show that comes on is stock cars. And the more people that watch Speed Sport, guess what? The more people that consistently watch that, whenever, I don't know, who do you want to say? Whenever X company wants to have an ad on there, the more people that watch, the higher that number goes, and that's where the money is made when you own an entire organization. It's not necessarily like you want people in the stands, don't get me wrong. That helps. Yep. But it's not the end all be all like everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, and I think the part of the uncomfort is seeing it done differently. Nobody's ever seen it kind of happen in this manner. And on the other hand of that, whenever we think of a racetrack closing, the reason it closes is turning it into a parking lot, or it's going to be a truck stop, or it's going to be a data center or a warehouse or something of that nature. I know that Houston might be like Copart or something like that, where all the cars are bought for by insurance companies that are totaled out or something like that. You know what I mean? But not necessarily the negative, but the thought process when tracks close doesn't have to be the same thought process when tracks are reopened, right? The reopening of the racetrack to allow the gates to swing open, to allow race cars to come in, that's kind of what we all hoped for whenever we watched them close in the first place. Man, who's going to come along and buy this track? Or we're always trying to share a post that says, hey, this track's for sale, and then we're tagging all the big money people that we might know. Hey, man, you ever thought about getting into drag racing? Go buy this one so I can have some place to go race. Well, that's actually happening. And, you know, again, I think I understand everybody's, not even fear, but the big question mark, the big what if factor that happens to all of us in most subjects that we can talk about, period. But in this particular case, well, what if that doesn't happen? That's all I got to say.
Right. And there's a difference between a business and a corporation. And this is IHRA is a corporation. Nobody complains about, I mean, people do, and it's there's a good reason for it, because Holly's businesses typically have terrible customer support as far as I've had any interaction with them. But nobody complains about Holly potentially closing down all the companies they own, which is like Race Pack, Comp Cams, like all those big things that probably every single one of us buys parts from at least once a year. Holly owns all of those. They own like 70 companies, and nobody complains about that. You know, at the end of and also Doug Cook's out here buying all this stuff. Doug Cook, Motion Raceworks, he's out here buying all that stuff, and he's doing a great thing. That's somebody who you want. He's a very big made in America type guy. He's a very big, he wants high quality products. He doesn't want the product to suffer. He puts the right people in the right positions, and everybody champions him. Why can't Daryl Cuttle be the same thing?
Yeah, man. And again, I know that newness isn't always the most fun to go through. Something new is always hard to accept, or the change that has happened isn't always good, but it isn't always bad either. So just trying to stay positive with it, man. And just as we see these type of comments, it's always good to bring it up and have a conversation about it. So if you guys have anything you'd like to leave in the chats, Casey and I are watching both sides of it, the Facebook and the YouTube side. Leave them in the chat, man. Let's talk about it. This is what this is all about. It's a forum. It's a place where you can go and get your voices heard, as Casey says a lot in our commercial there for GBR. So, but there's just a lot going. I'm really, really happy once again, to say I feel like my dad told me way back in the day Topeka might have been one of the smoothest tracks he's ever gone down at one point. So it's great to see a facility like that back on the list of tracks that we could actually visit. Good for the state of Kansas to be able to have something other than Flying H on a big level scale, kind of. I know that there's other smaller tracks in the area. I think I seen somebody say something about Mid-America or something like that being out there, which is also an IHRA track. But nothing to the tune of Topeka, which also means, well, eventually in 2027, I don't know about 2026, but in 27, we'll likely see a professional race at Topeka, as that is a quarter-mile track that used to be home to NHRA national event. So prepare yourself to be able to see some pretty fast cars go down that racetrack.
Yeah, I saw someone over, Mr. Bones, saying Holly owns competition cams. That's news to me. It might not necessarily be comp cams. I was just making a point of the fact that Holly owns a ton of things like Race Pack, MSD, stuff that people don't realize they actually own. So it might not be comp cams, but they own a lot. They own like 70 different companies that are things people use every day. So that was my whole point with that whole topic. But anyway.
Yeah, man.
What else do you want to talk about? You still want to talk about Topeka, or do we wear it out?
Probably wore it out. I know there's not going to be a lot of questions yet.
There's nothing really to ask yet. Honestly.
Not yet, man. There's still a lot to come. Like you said, this news broke, 1 o'clock, I think I saw it. So there's not a lot that's out there yet, but all I know is I'm glad it's out there. And this is just, like I said, it's good for drag racing. I don't care what type of racing it is. So what we'll do next is maybe we'll load up some 2026 thoughts, because we got some thoughts to go there, Casey, right after this few messages that we got for you from our marketing partners. So don't go anywhere. Hit the subscribe and the like button and the follow and the share or whatever it is on whatever platform you're listening on. Leave your questions in the comments. We'll come back and talk about those too. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts. Have a look at top-selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177.
The cooling fan is completely re-engineered with Proform's universal brushless electric fan, the ultimate upgrade for your vehicle's cooling system. Our 4 models deliver between 2,100 and 4,200 cubic feet per minute, providing 50% more cooling power than the competition. The advanced brushless DC motor ensures a lifespan at least twice that of traditional brushed fans. Installation is a breeze. No vehicle-specific controllers needed. Just connect the positive and negative wires to any 12-volt system and you're ready to go. Weighing in under 5 pounds with a 3-inch profile makes the ProForm brushless fans the best power-to-size ratio fans on the market. Don't settle for the limitations of yesterday's technology. Get ProForm Parts brushless fans for a cooler, more efficient, and more reliable fan for your ride.
All right. Welcome back. Going Bracket Racing episode. I believe it's 218 of those things. And last one for 2025. Shocking. I'm kind of shocked that that 26 is right around the corner already. I couldn't even believe Christmas is already past, if you want us to be honest, man. It's been a pretty fast year for, I'm probably speaking for everybody. It's just, this year was not slow. It just blew past for my interpretation of it. Shout out to everybody who's been on board with us all this time. Ken Jones Performance, TSR Racing Products, ProForm Parts, Crew Chief Pro, Driven Racing Oil, Mid-State, Dragway, BRG Motorsports, 3D printed parts. Got Team 14 out there, 8th Mile Apparel, Gearhead Solutions, and Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. Congrats. I think I read somewhere you guys might have been nominated number 1 in your area for what you do. So keep up the good work out there. I know Greg and his kids are actually doing a really good job with brochures, stickers. I feel like they even do more for Comic-Con, right? So, but that's pretty dope, man. Good job out there, Syntex. Casey, man, as we continue and before we hit the next topic, man, I think you had a pretty interesting comment on the YouTube side. I've got one on Facebook.
Yeah, Austin Day, will we see more bracket racers running the Index Series and the Nitro Outlaw Series with IHRA moving to 8th Mile? I believe so. And for example, this purchase of Topeka, the purchase of Memphis, that's all in that central region where a lot of the bracket style racing, which would be, in my mind, more of the Super Gas, Super Comp classes, that's very strong out there. Don't forget that Chris Whitfield is a big time NHRA 90 racer. He's from that general vicinity, quite a ways away from Topeka and that, but not in their grand scheme of things. Troy Abercrombie, if he's still in here, he'll let you know how far you got to drive to go racing out there. But it's just a long drive down 70 over there. A lot of them up in the northern areas as well. I don't know if that would be considered the same division as the Milan area, but obviously IHRA owns that as well. And there's a lot of those class races up there. So I would expect that you will see a lot more participation, just if nothing else, for people to try it. There's a lot of people that haven't ever had the opportunity to necessarily try that type of racing and might be interested in it, especially if they can get their contingency program together. And people keep saying, why is IHRA buying jet ski stuff? Why is IHRA buying stock car stuff? Well, the thing is, again, I saw somebody in here, I think it might have been Mr. Bones, saying Ralph Shaheen's behind the whole speed sport thing. Contingency programs thrive off of everything being in the same organization. And again, the contingency logo is worth more money whenever it's constantly on there, be it stock car fans don't want to watch drag racing. Some drag racing fans don't want to watch stock cars. Some of those people don't want to watch boats or jet skis. But that logo could still be on because, for example, you could use Fuel Tech and all that stuff. So Fuel Tech's logo could be valuable because it's constantly going to be on TV. So that contingency program, that's where the value really is. So I'm interested to see that in 2026 more than anything, because what would you do if a local bracket racer, if you could go race for $2,000 to win, and someone could actually figure out, because don't forget, this guy owns a lot of tracks now, so he could actually make it happen because he owns like 10 tracks or however many he owns now. He could potentially put this contingency program together where us weekly bracket racers could go race for $2,000, win the race, and get another $2,000 or $3,000 in contingency like they did in the old super stock days, back in the good days in the 80s and 90s.
Yep. Which would be awesome. The trickle down effect of that would be felt. Because when we continue this show, we're going to get off into another subject that we really can come back to what you just said, Casey, about contingencies pushing the actual amount of money that we could potentially win up substantially. I want to bring on one more comment before we get off of this whole IHRA bought another track. Yay. My man KG, Kevin Grider over here, says, will World Finals be in Topeka or will it be in Memphis? I see that Memphis has already been announced, KG. I'm going to stay with Memphis for the foreseeable future based on where Memphis is located in this country. The name of the game is location, location, location in business. And if you pay attention to, I think somebody just said, how far west will he go with his purchasing? Location, location, location. It's not like they're not paying attention to what areas have a high participation rate in our country for drag racing. Obviously, Kansas has always had a high participation rate in drag racing. Memphis, very high. Out west, I know that you guys may have lost some tracks out in Arizona and maybe in Arizona, but honestly, I don't know how far west because I don't know what tracks are actually missing out there or what areas, if I were to perform a census in, would bring back the results that I need to put a racetrack in said area. So to answer KG's question, Memphis all day, man. Both tracks are awesome, but Memphis is smack dab in the middle of the country.
But it's not done yet. Now, that being said, I saw a whole lot of work get done in 24 hours.
Yeah, man. This year's World Finals is already scheduled in October to be in
And that's
Memphis.
A long time. That's almost a year away.
A long way to go, man. A long way to go.
10 months.
Yep.
But I understand why he asked that because Topeka's massive. So if you have a massive deal, then it could potentially be there. But I agree with you. I think it's going to stay in Memphis. There's, I saw with my own eyes a massive section of Galat get ripped out 24 hours before we were racing on it, and it was perfect. They aren't scared to work through the night. And the thing a lot of people don't realize, too, is that at the end of the day, whenever you got the money to pay for it, you can make stuff happen pretty quick. Piedmont's like totally demoed now. Like it got demoed in a month, and I heard on Jason Harris and Steve King's podcast, which Jason's real big in the whole pro mod scene over there because his dad, I think, does the rules for Big Dog at Piedmont. And that place, he said, is basically, from what he's heard, is going to be just nice Galat, which is what I figured. And nobody was going to remodel Piedmont Dragway. So that place, if we get another Galat, dude, so Galat is 20 minutes. I keep calling it Galat. I know it's Durana, but I mean, how are you going to separate two Duranas around here? I wonder. You think Piedmont will stay Piedmont?
No.
I mean, I don't think so either. But anyway, if I can go to one track that is Galat that we're all familiar with, 30 minutes down the road, I can get to Piedmont in maybe an hour and 30 minutes at the most, maybe less than that, and a exact same Galat. I mean, everybody quit complaining. That's all I got to say.
Hey, at the same time, a little birdie on the wall. I keep saying it's on the wall, but it just flew past my window again. It's still live. And that old birdie said there's money going into tracks that he doesn't even quite own yet. So if he's sharing money across the board to tracks that aren't even his yet, it's got to tell you something, man. So more to come on that, because I'm not going to name any names or resources, but there's where's she at?
Lucian Payne. In-N-Out Burger moving to Tennessee and IHRA in Memphis, a match made in heaven.
right. So Casey, man, let's get off into the next portion of this particular show, man. And we talked a little bit, if you're following us on Facebook, which if you aren't, hopefully you go over on Facebook and hit that follow button. And we drop a lot of comments and topics out there on that particular source of media. Casey, I think you made the post about what were you talking about that day? I feel like it was surrounding what we need to do to get ready for 2026, and the main topic or the main answer was seat time driven. We talk about seat time a lot on Going Bracket Racing, guys, and as a drag racer or in anything that we do, honestly. I know one pastor I had, rest in peace to him, he said that he was a guitar player for a long time. Well, the first 10 years of guitar, he was terrible. Man, 50 years later, he was pretty good. What does that tell you? It's over the time as we practice at things, we're eventually going to get better. And if we're not, well, we should just quit, right? Right? Same thing with drag racing. I really feel like the more seat time we get, the better we're going to get. No matter the piece of equipment that you add to your program, if you don't get enough seat time using that piece of equipment, still not going to be any good with it. What do you think, Casey?
Oh yeah, I agree, man. Seat time is the most important thing with any sort of racing, period. I don't care what kind of racing you do, but the more laps you make, if anything, just the law of large numbers says that you're going to, in fact, do good at some point just because you keep entering the race. The more races you can enter, I don't care if it takes you winning, if you win every 10th race you enter, or if you win every 100th race you enter. The faster you get to that number, the faster it's going to be till you win. And along the way, you're going to stumble upon things and learn things, and things are going to click in your mind that, I mean, you might be 35, 40 years old and all of a sudden something clicks and you're like, I get it now. Right. And now all of a sudden, but that's what it takes is you have to, there's a book called Outliers. You ever read that?
Never read it, but I heard of it. Yep.
It's interesting. It explains, and I know we've talked about this on a really early show, very early show, because it used to sit in my corner whenever I was in my office above the garage. And I started talking about it one day. I mean, this would have been maybe on episode like 20 or something. But essentially what Outliers explains is it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything on average. And it goes into explaining why are hockey players born in this month on average statistically better, and more of these this month goes to the NHL. Why are kids that are born in this month more likely to go to the NBA? Well, the reason is, number one, is because they just happen to be born in the range where a old 5-year-old, how would that work? Like, so basically a 5-year-old that's almost 6 is a lot bigger than a 5-year-old that just was 4 yesterday. Yep. There's a huge difference. Yep. So basically that kid gets more of the practice and gets more focused by the coach. But what that all adds up to is more time in training. So by the time that kid's in the 8th grade, maybe he's already played basketball for 2,000 hours and practiced for 2,000 hours, whereas the kid that's younger than him that was smaller, that's not going to play every single game, might have 500. So the point is that the faster you can get to 10,000 hours, the faster you're at expert level. And that's why they say that those people go into professional sports or whatever. So that being said, basically the more seat time you get, the faster you can get it, the better you're going to be in a lesser amount of time. So that's why if you really want to learn something, like say you want to hold numbers, I can tell you one thing that I did with my Nova is there was a race called Triple Nickel at Galat one year. It was awesome. It was like the first week of March or something, but it was $5,000 to win all 3 days, and you could enter for $50 an entry. So I doubled all 3 days because I said, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to figure out how to hold 5 or 6 numbers, and I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to learn to do it right here, right now, because I figured worst case scenario, it cost me $300, but, I think I figured out if I bought back the whole weekend and everything, it would have cost me like $500 to learn it, but it guaranteed me like some crazy amount of runs. Like even if I lost every single round and never turned one win light on, I think I figured up I was going to run with gamblers races and everything like 20 runs or something like that. So the short story is you have to go do it if you're going to learn it. And the only way to learn it is seat time. You can do these mental thought experiments in your mind and look at stuff all you want and listen to people talk all you want. But until you do it, the fact of the matter is, rather than paying somebody to teach you how to do something, why don't you just go pay your money, enter the race, and go learn to do it yourself? Because no one can ever teach you 100% how to do something or tell you how to do it. You have to go do it yourself. I can't tell you how to shoot a free throw. You need to just go shoot free throws. Like I can tell you the idea of it, but that's not going to help you make that free throw. It's going to help you get started.
It's 100%. I'm trying to teach my boy all of that, what you just mentioned in the first place, right? Go out there, put your time into what you're trying to get good at, and maybe you'll start to see progress. But we're so quick to stop once the progress doesn't show quickly. And it leads us right, your comments, Casey, lead us right into the next portion of this whole thing with the thought process of go out there and do it and unloading your car. Casey, man, a lot of us get hindered by this thought, and I'm one of them. So, hey, I'm on the same boat as a lot of people. How much money is enough money to load my car up and fuel up my truck and head to the racetrack for a purse? And we made that comment out on Going Bracket Racing as well, Casey. I'll let you go first, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in. I kind of know where you stand because we've talked about this for many years, Casey. What is the amount of money that a race needs to be at the top? What can we win for us to load our car up and go drag racing?
I mean, the way I see it is, if I want to go racing, as long as, like, I'm not going to pay $1,000 race for $1,000, you know. But if the entry fee to run for 1,000 is $50, I'll go race that. And if I want to race really bad and they're running for $5,000 and it's, you know, $150, then I'll go spend that and race for that. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, at the end of the day, only one person's going to win anyway. So it, like, people get caught up in thinking they're going to win every single race. Well, most people win very little. Sure. And what they forget about is, you know, the common saying, I guess you'd say, is, well, whenever I win, I want it to be worth spending my money on all this stuff. Well, what you forget is whenever you chase that 50 grander for so long, like even Corey Galletti doesn't win every race that he enters. And I can tell you for a fact that you spent at least 50,000 chasing your 50, and you could have spent 1,000 chasing your 1,000. It all adds up to zero. It makes no difference. I mean, Corey said it on this show. He might have been the very first guest of this year, actually.
Possible, yep.
Episode 180 something. Corey said he did everything 100% on his own one year, and you can barely make any money, if make any money at all. It's basically impossible to make money. And if Corey Galletti can't make a living bracket racing, in my opinion, there is no one else that really can. Maybe 2 or 3 other guys could even be in the conversation for it. But, like, if you can't Corey Galletti is, in my mind right now, Corey Galletti will go down as the greatest. Him and Gage, or I always go back and forth week to week. It's him or Gage, one of them. And then one of them wins something, and then they go on top, and another one wins something, and they go on top. And then Donovan Williams wins a whole bunch of crap back-to-back, and then he goes up there. But the fact of the matter is that Corey Galletti right now, as it stands, if he quit racing today, goes down as probably top 10 in the entire ever, possibly top 5.
Yep. I agree with that.
So if he can't do it, nobody can.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. And to continue the conversation beyond that, Corey does go out to drag race quite a bit, man, and he's a big money bracket racer. That is his niche. That's where he is, pretty much. On the road, next money race after the next and after the next. Me, on the other hand, I am a local racer. I might get the chance to get out to 1, maybe 2 big money events per year if I'm lucky, right? So, but my problem, and I'd love to hear everybody's comments or thoughts on what I'm about to say next. So get your keyboards warmed up and let me know what you think about this one. But my thought process, Casey, is I don't mind going to race for $1,000. The part that I mind is that $1,000 race is not going to yield me a track that is going to prepare me to race in a $5,000 area, in a shark pool or ocean, whatever you want to call this Texas area, which I'm sure you deal with in the North Carolina, in the, you know, being at Galat and being at Piedmont, wherever you go drag racing. There are a lot of great racers out there. Well, I want to test my equipment at the level or pace at which I'm going to use it at a $5,000 race if I'm going for $1,000 to win. And I really, and this is not a knock against local programs, but I just don't feel like where I go for those types of races, the track surface is going to be anywhere near the surface that I would get for going to a $5,000. Thus, generally speaking, I'm not unloading my car unless I have something I need to test for less than $4,000. And why do I use $4,000 as the number? Because that's how much money you race for at XRP. And I feel like $5,000 is the number for Texas Motorplex this year, as Ryan Gleghorn really increased that operation. I mean, 2 days a week, $5,000 each day. Yeah, we'll see you at Texas Motorplex. You know what I mean, Casey? So I wonder what everybody thinks about that, because it does make things tough. I'm not a mad scientist, so I don't have the ability to kill 10 degrees of timing off the hit and bring back in 5 at the 330 to bring back 5 more by the time I'm through the doggone stripe. So what do you guys think about that? Casey, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would agree with it in that aspect. As far as if you're racing for 1,000, the track probably won't be as good as if you're racing for 5,000. It's just, it doesn't add up. And again, that's the reason why I always say the entry fee just needs to match the payout, because then you know what's what. If you're racing for $1,000, you can afford the track to not be as good, because there's either going to not be as many cars there, or the entry fee is going to be significantly cheaper. So in that scheme of things, it's like, okay, well, if you give me $1,000 track and I'm paying for a $5,000 race, we got a problem, because I paid the entry fee for it to be better. It's kind of like if you go to Spring Fling, you don't expect the track to suck. It never does. And the reason that is because you paid that big entry fee. It doesn't have to suck. That's why you pay that entry fee. People forget about that fact. You don't pay necessarily the entry fee just to be able to race for X amount of dollars. You pay the entry fee for them to buy the good workers and bring the good people like Match Traction in that make sure that track's going to allow your car to repeat every time. And you're not going to randomly have somebody not see a drip on the starting line and then you spin the tires and lose in the 4th round. Like, Biondo brings in all the best people, and that's why that entry fee is high too, because the best people cost the most money.
Sure.
But to have the best experience, you need the best people.
Sure. And I'm going to go with Casey Boss' comment right here, man. And it's basically saying, I will say maybe not the surface, but those local races prepared me to race against the best to do it. My local guys kicked my tail every weekend. I get this 100%. It all goes back to that seat time, or it's still a seat on a motorcycle, Casey, right? But seat time is the key. And I think that is another aspect that makes it hard, is that seat time. If my car is not enjoying said racetrack, the seat time is irrelevant to me. Let's be honest. We all have the ability to set our Christmas trees up, our practice trees from Porter Tree. We have ability to set them right where mine is. Right, it's right there. If I want to pick the button up, it's right there, and I can hit the tree all day long. I don't even unplug the thing. You know what I'm saying? And I work here for a living. This is my work desk too. So I sit here and hit the practice tree quite often. We all have the ability to hit the practice tree, right? So when I go to a racetrack, it's about more than just me getting hits at the practice tree in my race car. I need to be able to know what my car is going to do. That way I can carry said 5 numbers that Casey talked about. Or I can fix this problem right here because I'm getting too much fuel at this end of that end. I got data, you know what I mean? But I want to be able to use that data in a way that when I do go to Flickr Promotions event in the beginning of the year next year, I've got some type of data that's going to allow me to be effective and compete at the level that I've practiced at. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying,
Right.
Casey. You got to get your head beat in at the local area, the local level. There is a reason for local bracket races. Period. I don't care at what amount of money it's for. Back in the day, we didn't used to have to talk about track prep, however. And nowadays, you got to talk about track prep.
Yep. Yeah, and then I guess the one thing that I always see, and this is what I was actually looking up because I'm surprised nobody's actually said this in the chat yet. I see a lot of people comment all the time of, oh, the maintenance, all the maintenance, all the maintenance. I've just been slowly looking up basic small block Chevy stuff, like your average, your 406, like the basic of basic race motors, right? I think that's an agreed upon thing. 383, 406, that's a very common race motor. And I've been comparing those to like 540 parts. And people say, oh, the maintenance is so expensive. The maintenance is not that expensive if you do it yourself in the grand scheme of what race cars cost. But for me to freshen my Nova doesn't cost hardly any more than the same parts to freshen up your so that's a 650 car. I'm not going to compare it to the Chevelle because the rods are a lot more expensive. The crank's a lot more expensive because that's not what you would typically run in a 540 bracket motor, like for a dragster that goes like say 470s.
Sure.
the parts are within a couple $100 a piece. So that's not, if your engine guy is telling you it's the parts that are so much more expensive, it's not, unless you're running those 665 or 655, whatever they are, all aluminum par motors or something, going 420s with a single carburetor, then that shouldn't really be an argument either, because you got a lot of money then, obviously.
Right.
Do you want to race or not? That's the thing, is just, I just don't like the comment of, I don't like whenever people say, I'm not unloading for less than X, because in bracket racing, I think that diminishes the sport. I think people forget why bracket racing exists. And the reason bracket racing exists is because people couldn't afford to class race. And I'm not saying big money bracket racing should go anywhere. There's a place for that.
Oh, yeah.
But I am saying there's a lot of people, I feel like, say that comment, not because they believe it, because they want to talk down to others. And you like, there's a place for everybody in the whole sport. And the bigger the sport gets, the more big money bracket races there'll be, because I hate to tell you guys, but ultimately those big money bracket races, if there's not at least 350 cars at every single one of those, you're not going to see as many. So
yeah,
you don't want to push people out because of that.
I think I agree with it. I agree with what you're saying across the board, especially on a level of kind of keeping the lower level, or whatever you want to call it, trying to make yourself seem as if you're bigger and badder than the lower racer. Well, the most of these comments inside of this track, inside of our sections here, talk about how they go local racing to stay sharp, because the majority of the people they're racing with are those guys who race big money racing. And let's be honest with them. I'm gonna just use Texas because that's where I'm at. But it is not going to be uncommon for you to unload your car and line up against Peeps or one of the Pennington boys, or say Bob Glitti. A lot of people don't know Bob Glitti will knock your teeth out of your mouth in a heartbeat, or the Endicotts, or Casey Ball, for crying out loud, on them two wheels. Any of the balls. You gotta deal with a lot of people at that local level. But bracket racing it's not 1990 anymore. Racing for 1,000 is not that easy to do. And so there's a lot of positives and negatives on each side, right? I'm one of the people, I would like to race, period. If it's 1,000, if that's all I got and I'm itching, well, I'm going racing. It is what it is. Maybe I need to hit some testing tunes, Casey, and throttle my stuff completely back to figure out how to make my car go down said racetracks. Because that's the majority of it. I am not the best racer. Like what you just said, Casey, maybe I'll just spend the money to actually figure out how to hold 5, okay? And then when I do go to said racetrack, I just hold 5 going down the racetrack so that I know I'm getting there first, right?
And maybe that's the place you want to go learn that.
Testing tune, man.
Yeah, you don't want to. Well, I mean, yeah, testing tune, obviously, but
wherever
going to that $50 to enter $1,000 to win race, that's really where you want to try to do that, because most of the time, if you're in an area where you have an option to go to a $5,000 to win every weekend, or $1,000 to win, your $5,000 to win, obviously, most of the time, the better racers are going to be there because they feel like they're going to win the race and they're going to want to win $5,000. So it's not a bad idea sometimes to go to those smaller tracks to learn things that help you compete at the bigger tracks. And also, I think a lot of people have forgotten that when you spend less money, it's inherently more fun because you don't care as much, because you don't have as much wrapped up in it.
Sure.
Like, it's kind of like we all just had Christmas. Those of us that have kids, you buy your kid a cheap toy and you let them play rough with it because you know they're going to break it, but it was also like $5. But they have so much fun with that cheap toy because they can beat the crap out of it and do whatever they want with it and don't have to care. And you can have so much fun with it. Maybe it survives, maybe it doesn't.
Sure.
But then the nicer stuff, if you were ever one of those people that you're like, oh, a collectible item. How much fun's a collectible item sitting up there on your shelf? You're like, yeah, I own that. That's cool. Well, wouldn't you much rather drive your Corvette than let it sit in the garage and have it if you had the option?
Sure. So I think in the grand scheme of things, especially in this coming year, 2026 is loading, Casey. It's coming fast. In Texas, we're going to be racing, I feel like, the second week of February. I probably won't be there because I'm old and I tore my meniscus somehow. So, yeah, I got to get that surgery. And, well, it might take me a little while to get back. If I can wear a knee brace and be back in racing the week after the surgery, I'll be out there, right? But enclosed trailer is on the way here for me, man. I'm going to be buying an enclosed soon. I'm going to miss my open trailer, but at least if it's supposed to rain, I can still at least make my way to the racetrack and figure out if it's going to rain or not without my junk getting rained on. So expect to see me at a few more of these local events the more I've downed it and said, hey, nah, I'm not going to this track or I'm not going to that track. I need seat time. And February to April is not a lot of time to get some races under my belt so that I can try possibly competing in my first big money race of the year. So George needs seat time, Casey. That's all it is to it, bro.
Can't win a race if you're sitting in the house.
It's a true statement.
Rule number one.
And I don't plan on sitting in the house. I had a good time at last year's Flickr event in April in the first place, and definitely ain't gonna be missing that one if I can make it happen. So, man, what you got in closing, dude? We're up here right at the hour mark, and we'll do our best to get the sound issues resolved. I think maybe one of the programs we use might have went behind the paywall, so we will go behind the paywall with them to keep this old bad boy going. You know how that goes. What you got in closing, Casey?
Balls Out Racing. Pumped for the new payouts at the Motorplex. Great local programs in our area between Motorplex, XRP, Ardmore, and Wichita. Also appreciate your support too. Casey Ball over there. He was on an episode not too far back. If you want to learn about him a little bit, he's a cool guy.
That's right.
Go talk to him. He's got a lot of good viewpoints as well, because he's a guy that just wants to race, and that's literally it. He's another guy. He'll just go racing. So very good show with him we did not too long ago, a couple months back. And Caputo 4141. Good to be versatile at multiple tracks. Racing at one place all year throws that off. Tons of things are different from track to track. We can go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, buddy.
And that's exactly right, man, because just because your car goes down one track, what if that's the best track prep in the whole state? And then you go to this other track and you're like, what's going on here? Man, you just wasted your time.
That's right.
Now you're trying to figure out, why does it work here? Why does it not work here? Is it my car? Is it the track? What is it? Well, the point is that race is done for. Now you got to go think about all this other stuff. Whenever if you raced here once and raced here once, you would have immediately said, well, it's my car, you know?
Yep. No, man, Caputo makes a good point, man. And you know me, I like weighing things out, sport to sport. It's just like golf, man. At my home golf track, man, I shot a 76 the other day. Man, I'll go down the street to somebody else's track that I don't play at every single weekend. I shoot 105. That's the difference right there. You got to be versatile. Like you're saying, I got to have tricks in my bag to do everything. So, man, if you learned anything during this episode, guys, I know I have, because I told you I'm in a certain position to where it's like, all right, I won't unload for this amount of money or I won't unload for that. I'm going to do my best to do a little bit better in 2026 to where if there is a race going on, well, I'm unloading my stuff. You know what I mean? Especially at this local level. That's the level of racer that I am in the first place. And that's going to get me my seat time. So, Casey, man, it's been a fun episode as always. And GBR, Going Bracket Racing community, thank you guys. We can't thank you enough for always being here, watching with us, and leaving your comments in the chat to give us things to talk about through these episodes. Well, you got, Casey, 2025 is signing off, I guess, right?
Yeah, man. Everybody be safe on the New Year's. Don't be an idiot. And we'll see y'all back here in 2026, I guess, next week.
Peace out. Have a good one.